The thoughts, views, and comments expressed by the hosts, guests, and callers on Beyond the Headlines are not necessarily those of management, ownership, or production unit of the Verizon Media Group. Beyond the Headlines is a production of ILTV Studios and cannot be reproduced or represented in part or entirety without express written permission of the Verizon Media Group. Beyond the Headlines is the intellectual property of the Verizon Media Group. Copyright 2021.
Coming up tonight, a single woman evicted from her home by Haitians. Tonight, we hear how she's been forced to sleep in her vehicle and bathe at a coffee shop. No, it's no fake news here. It's real, and we have the story behind it. Speaking of fake news, did you see the list of prospective F&M candidates today? The list is people all over talking, but the F&M says that's fake news. Also tonight, we have the latest on that Andros teacher feud. Did the physical education teacher threaten to return to the campus and shoot the principal and the janitress? It's all straight ahead for you this evening. Well, we begin this evening. Of course, welcome to Beyond the Headlines. It's great to have you here. I'm Shanique Miller. Let's start. Of course, we begin with that live stream that's gone viral. Many of you are asking, how could a Bahamian woman own an impressive home in the Bonefish Pond area and then be kicked out of that home and is now living in her vehicle? Coalition of Independence leader Lincoln Bain brought it to the nation's attention yesterday as he went to the property with the woman to try and sort the matter out. Good evening to you, Mr. Bain. It's great to have you here. Welcome to Beyond the Headlines.
Good evening. It's great to be here.
Before we get started, I know it's a lot to dissect there, but before we get started, something that's been trending really since Monday, and it's taken on different twists and turns with each new day and each new 24-hour cycle. And that is some comments or a comment made by Prime Minister Davis on Sunday during a PLP event where he questioned the leader of the Free National Movement's professional experience and if he's qualified based on that professional experience to then lead the nation. Of course, that's since become a row of, Mr. Pintard has a record of being a creative, somebody in the orange economy. And so that's now become the row of, wait a minute, Brave Davis is against singers and junkaneurs and artists and everybody in that space. Would you agree with that sentiment? Is the Prime Minister showing a bit of elitism by saying, wait a minute, Michael Pintard, what have you done and what qualifies you to want to go in this direction?
Well, I'm not his lawyer, but I don't think Mr. Davis was speaking against all of those other people. I think he was speaking directly to Michael Pintard and his qualifications. I don't think it has anything to do with saying, because I think he's unqualified, that everyone else who does this kind of stuff is unqualified. I mean, because Mr. Christie was a creative. He was a junkaneur. So was Dr. Minnis. He was a junkaneur. I think we need to have more thicker skin. As politicians, you should put yourself out there to be scrutinized. You're not gods. You're not untouchable. And so what Brave is doing, I think actually the media should be doing. And they should be scrutinizing persons who are going there. And you should look at someone and ask questions about whether you think this is going to be good for us or that is going to be good for us. There were questions put to Obama. Obama, they said, you don't have any experience. All right? And it wasn't about being a creative. And so they weren't insulting everyone who was an activist, because that's what Obama really was known for at the time. They weren't insulting all activists by saying you're not qualified, because anything track record we have with you, public, is activism. Right. And so they were saying that you are not qualified. But of course, he survived that. And so Pintard, should if Brave Davis wants to say something, let him say what he has to say, have thick skin and keep moving. Simple as that. We have to be more mature as politicians. Even as reporters, you would experience over the years, you say something about a politician, ask a question, all of a sudden they turn into the Tun Makud or the Gestapo and they're coming after you. No, we need to get rid of that. Yes. And so Pintard is a creative, but I think the question isn't that he's a creative, it's how much did you do as a creative? And so people are asking, okay, you're a creative, you did some poetry that wasn't very successful. You also, I mean, that's just the truth. You did like 3 plays in 60 something years, and so and those plays were nice. I went to one of them. The Count It Again Man.
Right, because those were sort of spin-offs from general elections.
Right, but this is where the thing can come in. Okay, if this is you, if this is your life and what you believe in, what did you do in that area? Did you say, okay, I believe in poetry, let me set up a poetry club where Bahamians can come in and they can make some money, let's have poetry night and people, let's create something for people. There's no track record where he used any of his gifts or talents for the Bahamian people or to empower anyone. If that is your area, did you create a business for persons, for example? When you were in the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Culture, what did you do? We have no successful track record. I think that's a legitimate question. It's not to insult him. It's that we paid you to promote culture. You had the pen in culture. You had the budget. You never did anything in culture. You never did anything in youth. And when I say anything, of course, they had to do some things. Yes, but I mean, nothing substantial where we can say, you can go from there and be prime minister because you have a legacy. In agriculture, he says he's an agriculturist. What did you do as an agriculturist? You had the ministry to do that. What did you do? Okay, and so that's where the questions really come in. And I'm not speaking for Brave, I'm speaking for me.
For you
and
as
that my problem is, you should have done some things in this area, all right? And that's where the problem comes in. I held business boot camps because I was interested in empowering entrepreneurs. So I had held
So you're saying this election season, it is fair game for us to look at you and scrutinize you, for us to look at Michael Pintard and scrutinize him, for us to look at Brave Davis and scrutinize, and whomever, for us to look at Ali McIntosh.
Of course.
And see what it is that she has done over all these years, and any other leader that want to put themselves forward.
Yes, and not to be offended or try to get everyone on your team because, Lincoln Bean says he was a police officer, and they say, okay, we need to see more than that. They didn't insult all police officers. They're just saying, Lincoln, what have you done?
What have you done?
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to get your opinion on that. And
I agree with Brave Davis on that. I think that Michael Pintard is grossly unqualified to lead this country. Not because of anything that he's done, but because that he has been in certain chairs and not done anything while there.
Let's move along, because I really want you to go into something that is so just vexing that it's happened before. It's even happening to Bahamians with Bahamians. The whole land matter in the Bahamas is just a mess. I glimpsed a headline earlier today where Prime Minister Davis is saying that he is approaching land reform, but this isn't about that. I want to give all of this attention now to what happened to a single Bahamian woman. For the last few months, this has been really happening, but she went yesterday to try and get some resolve. Were you shocked that when you went there, and you will tell us who this lady is and what's happening, but you went to Bonefish Pond with this lady, and this lady was fighting for her dear life and being almost beat up on by Bahamians and by Haitians to say, Mom, excuse me, hi, have a heart, move on the side, while she's sleeping in her car. Move on the side, let these people live. What is the story there that this woman is now in Nassau, Bahamas, and we know what's going on the streets. She sleeps in her vehicle, and she goes and she tries to get some kind of bath to clean herself up at a coffee shop.
Yeah, no, I was not surprised because I'm hearing complaints like this all over the country where there are abandoned houses, etc. People are moving into them. Immigrants are moving into them, all right? And this is happening all over this country right now. Anywhere where they see that there's no activity, they're going to try. There are other people who went through the same thing. You'll remember the Miss Curry story where we had to go and fight for Miss Curry. She tried everyone, no one would assist her. And we went down there with tractors in tow to break it down. The police came. We went with the police also with an order for them to be broken down. And some other police came and removed us from that area, defending the wrongdoers.
Right.
So eventually we were able to get justice for her, and she was able to get that property back, and we were able to make sure that everything was raised or broken down. And so she now has her property back. So other people this is happening to. This is not the only woman in Bonefish Pond that this is actually happening to.
Yes.
There's other persons. But when she went to the immigration department and she wanted some justice because no one would help her. She tried politicians, she tried officials.
So she's been fighting now for a minute to try reclaim her house.
Yes.
And nobody would give her attention.
Yes.
Meanwhile, she has to drive by every day, night, whenever it is, or perhaps even knock on the door and plead for these people to vacate her home. She
Yes.
owns this home outright, or was she renting it?
Outright. She actually has documents. I've seen her documents, and I've also seen her tax documents from Inland Revenue, and so she owns this outright.
How did these people? Because if you saw the video, and I know many of you have it, it is extremely viral. How about that? Huh? That I don't need to say extremely to add that adjective, but that's just how many views it has. So you have seen it more than likely. The thing is, you see a lady with a young baby there. There's a little boy. This lady occupied this house. This is the one who's been resisting the actual owner from getting in and reclaiming her house.
No, she didn't get resistance from that side, but I just wanted to say that she went to the immigration department to get them removed because there were like 25 people in there.
Yeah, no, that's another thing. How 25 people get in? Because it's a huge. They took over the whole area then.
They took over the
They're
whole
all
house.
illegal.
She has two buildings. She has a 2-story house on there and another single-story house, and they took
they've
over
taken
everything.
Over the entire property.
Everything. They've taken everything from her.
But immigration? You said immigration is aware of this?
Well, she went to immigration to let them, because she couldn't get any justice anywhere else. So she said, okay, these people are illegal. Just come to my house. These people are there, and remove them. I guess as a way to get them out of there. And the immigration officers told her, if you really want justice, call Lincoln Bain. Let him get on top of this, and then we could, deal with it on the back end.
Well, you do have a reputation for kind of going into these sort of situations and environments and causing things to happen.
Yeah, I don't understand why people are so fearful to deal with these kinds of things. I will tell you that it's not politically expedient because there's people that's going to be offended when you try to stand up for Bahamians. But I'm not doing this for votes. I'm not doing this for friends. But you can't take advantage of a Bahamian woman in this country. Someone has to stand up for the Bahamian people in this country. And so they called us and we went there right away with her. And when we got there, I was shocked that, wow, this is true. Well, first we had to go to get documents because I don't do anything unless I have full proof. I think I have a reputation for that. And we went, got the documents. I went to Inland Revenue to see if this woman was registered with Inland Revenue. When I saw all of that and they stamped the documents, I said, okay, let's go now. We went there and we met 2 elderly persons who were there. And when she was there the last time, she said that they were very aggressive with her. They cursed her out, ran her out of the place.
On the property?
Yes,
well,
along with other people.
Because and that's what was troubling though. See, Lincoln, when we look at this immigration mess that it is and has become, Bahamians are right in the middle of it. Because here's this woman trying to tell these Haitians, who are all illegal. Are any of them here on work permit, citizenship, residency, or anything?
A couple of them are.
A few of them are.
But we question how they got these documents.
Because
these documents are for sale.
Let's talk about. Well, first she was being harassed and I mean bullied by a Bahamian who somehow thought that she had no right to her own home that she owned. Now let's.
So what happened is she had a contractor who was supposed to be working on this particular building. The other building was finished. She's supposed to be working on this building, but he knows that she goes away for like 2 months at a time, and then she wouldn't be there. So he tried to rent.
Advantage.
He tried to rent to some people for a month.
Wait a minute. Are you wait, man? Short-term rentals. Are you?
That's what it looks like.
Are you trying to say allegedly, reportedly, this contractor was trying, a Bahamian contractor was trying to go and say, well, he can make this little slow, whatever it is, for the 2 months that she is known to be out of the country or be somewhere else?
Yes, that's what's, based on my conversation with the people there, him and her, that seems to be what would happen.
And he's supposed to be working on these properties that she hired him to do,
yes.
But he turned around and flip,
she wouldn't be there.
it.
But he let one family come in there. He didn't bring the 25 people in there. He let one lady and her child come in there. And that another lady, who was that lady's sister, who just had the baby, came over. But he let that one woman come in there on one part of the house. And it sounds like that woman informed other people,
That, hey, man,
hey,
free
no
for
one
all,
in this
come.
place,
Yeah.
y'all come.
Was he
And
being
so
paid?
it looks.
Was he being paid monthly rent, or
He,
what
he
they paid?
says that he got paid from that woman that he brought in, and I asked him in front of the police if this lady that we went there to fight for, I asked him if she received any funds, and he said no, she didn't get any funds from this. I asked the people who were there if they paid her any money. They said no, they didn't pay her any money. They don't even know her. All right, and so even the two elderly people, they're like they didn't pay her. They were claiming to pay someone else, but the story didn't pan out. But there always seems to be Bahamians caught up in the sellout of their nation, and I want to say to Bahamians that y'all need to stop.
Yeah, right here.
This is the only country we have, and for a few dollars, you're gonna sell your birthright like Esau. You're gonna lose this one country that you have, and your children are gonna pay for you selling out. And whatever benefit you had, they're gonna have to pay for later. And so we have to stand up and defend this one nation that we have and defend the people in this nation.
I want to ask you, Lincoln, about this as well. See, this is also vexing. Bahamians have, I almost say internal revenue, inland revenue. They have real property tax, they have rent, they have mortgage, they have all, and Jesus, Ministry of Works and the various approval, the levels of approval that they have to go to for whatever it is, whether it's an income property, whether it's a family home, whatever it could be, you know what Bahamians must go through. Now the concern and the vexation is that this fight for land that we have amongst ourselves, Haitians are coming in and can just settle and have carte blanche wherever they want to live, it appears. And it's happening. And this is a vexing issue for Bahamians.
It's a real issue.
It's a real issue. How do we address this when people are saying, man, if they're just trying to add a restroom onto their home, what they have to go through versus people building whole communities?
Yeah, the problem is corruption. All right, we don't have an immigration problem. We have a corruption problem. There's a lot of money to be made in illegal immigration. I think that is the biggest industry in this country outside of tourism. That is a huge industry. That is bigger than the numbers business. That is bigger than the drugs business. There's a lot of money. Every person you see on that boat paid probably about $8,000, some probably more. And the boat is not all they pay for. Then they have to pay to get documents. Then they got to get those documents renewed. Then they got to get them extended. Then they get some other documents, all right, which is work permit. Then they got to try to get a permanent residency. Then they got to pay someone to get their citizenship. This is a huge, and each one of those steps is thousands of dollars. All right, and so this is a huge industry that we have to pay attention to. I know
it's a lot of heavy lifting. It's a lot to clean up. I remember recently I had an interview with the chief passport officer. Eventually, some people were found in his department to be involved in corruption, and they were charged. But the point is, though, immigration and all these other areas have issues because on that property, a lady who obviously entered the country very well advanced in her pregnancy now has her young baby in her hand, the one who's staying in the woman's home in her hand. She is saying she's not straight yet, but she is saying she has an application for a work permit. How does that happen? I thought how work permits happened is that a business that you identify in said country would then submit that for you. You are approved, then you go to that country.
That's another business. But there are Bahamians who are applying for the Haitians. The Haitians pay the money, and then in some instances they pay the Bahamian weekly. So every week they make money, they pay a Bahamian because that was the person who applied for them. There's a lot of business and a lot of money being made from this, but people aren't realizing that you are hurting our sovereignty when you sell out like this. And so we got to pay attention. The biggest thing for me in all of this, Shanique, is that there are things that illegal immigrants are being allowed to do that they are killing Bahamians for. All right? Bahamians' properties are now being repossessed if they don't pay their land taxes, right? Their property taxes. Yes. You saw Bahamians go out trying to sell coconuts and get dragged before the courts, while on Cowpen Road they can sell and do whatever they want.
It's a whole flipping city.
Yeah, and you saw in a live we did before that. You saw we went to the chicken fight area where they are on the Bonefish Pond, which is a reserve. That is a protected reserve.
Area. And
they have a chicken fight.
Hold a thought. What is Bahamas National Trust doing? Huh? If that is a protected area, what is the Environment and Bahamas National Trust doing that that area now is obviously tarnished? Isn't it supposed to be a protected area with the
Yes.
wonderful mangroves and all
Yes.
the rest of it? That area before was no construction and whatnot happening there.
In my video that you saw with this lady, right where you saw all the garbage across the street from my house, that is a protected area where they're dumping all the garbage.
And God
They're not
knows
even
where
keeping it on their side where they're, not theirs, but on the side of the
Where
road that's
they
not protected.
occupy.
But on that side of the road where the pond is protected and they have it lit and it smells horrible. All right, they're destroying that place. But, you know, we are now seeing some government official, rogue government official is apparently harassing Bahamians on what he believes to be Crown land. How are you touching Bahamians? Even if they
And
go
turning a
on Crown
blind
land.
eye.
We saw a young man that was arrested the other day on some trumped-up charges, nothing to do with the Crown land, but they were harassing him because of it. And this young man is striving. He has a license to farm. He's been raising chickens. He's been planting all manner of things. He has irrigation system. He's doing a good job as a young man, bright young man. And they say that our Bahamian men are lazy. That is not true. They say we can't grow things here. That is not true. He should be lifted up in this country. But a police officer went there, harassed him, assaulted him, and of course the police says that it's the fellow resisted arrest or whatever. But you had no right to go in the man's yard.
So
the man
question-
has a building permit on his property.
Yeah.
His family has been living there over 50 years, Shanique. From his great-granddad.
I have
They
a
were
real-
farming that land and living there.
This is a real question. Do the police not see the Haitians when they go after the Bahamians?
Apparently they don't, because they asked the same police officer, why are you here where Bahamians are, but we've never seen you in the shanty towns? He says, show me a shanty town and I'll go there. I'll go right now.
What did the police say?
Show him a shanty town and he'll go there.
That's interesting. They
Yeah.
probably somehow have in a shroud of secrecy.
He had to pass a ton of shanty towns to get to this man's house. He had to, they're dealing with the
But
environment.
aren't they illegally doing business openly on the whole stretch of Cowpen Road?
Yeah.
So, but he didn't see none of that. Just go straight.
They're just attacking and beating down Bahamians, and I'm tired of seeing Bahamians beat down in this country. This is our country, man. At some point, we have to have leadership that puts Bahamian first, that treats us like royalty,
At some point.
that makes sure that we benefit from everything in this country.
At some point.
And when Bahamians are being hurt or taken advantage of by a legal immigrant, we should have a government that's going to stand up and say, don't touch my people.
At
If
some
you
point.
touch an American anywhere in this world, they come in. America
bet.
is coming.
You bet.
It don't care if that is a bum off the street in your country who's an American. Don't touch him, because if you touch him, they come in.
Well, we see the fight for sovereignty in the United States. I mean, if you pay any kind of attention, you even got to be paying close attention, just any kind, you will see what Donald Trump is doing. Other countries are doing it as well, because people are saying enough is enough of the invasion of foreigners who don't belong on any of these countries now, and they're reclaiming their countries for the authentic people or the original indigenous
Yes.
people of those nations.
Everyone has
We
their-
should do that.
Shanique, everyone has their country. Just like you have your house, I have no right to just come in your house. I'm a Bahamian, you're a Bahamian, you're black, I'm black. I have no right to just come in your house and do what I want, right?
Nope.
I can just knock your door down and come and go in your fridge. Everyone has their boundaries. There's freedom, but there's a burden of freedom. We have to have our boundaries. This is our country that we were entrusted to. In Haiti, there are laws that no foreigner can own land in their country.
No.
If you are not a Haitian of origin, you can't buy land in their country. They protect their country.
even buy land?
You can't buy land. No foreigner. If you are not a Haitian of origin and owning land, you cannot run for any high office in the country. No office in that country. So how are we xenophobic when it's them have it in their laws? They have xenophobia in their laws.
They
So
have
how is it
xenophobia.
that we
They
must
have-
let
they
you?
don't have xenophobia.
You ever
They
had a
have
friend
sense.
where he could drive your car, but you can't ever drive his.
can't even
You
step
could
in
come
it.
by his house, but you see, it's not the same.
Yeah.
And so this has to be fair. Don't tell me that all of us are Africans, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, why can't I go to your house and to your country and buy property? Why can't I live my best life in your country? All right? But this is not about xenophobia. We're not xenophobic because we want to defend our country and we want to protect our people. And we have to close our borders. And when we get in there, we're going to have a strong government that's going to do what is right. We need other people, Haitians,
No,
Chinese,
we do.
Jamaicans, to come in and
Absolutely.
help us build
We
the
do.
new Bahamas.
We do.
But you're going to come here the right way.
Yes.
And when you
And
come
then-
here,
and then I
you're not
feel
going to
as
have a
though
shanty
It
town.
should be controlled of how many you allow.
When they go to Canada, they don't have shanty towns. They don't behave like that.
Wow.
When they go to New York or Miami, they don't do that.
Wow.
It's done here. And so we're going to have proper government that's going to do this right. There will be not one illegal immigrant in the Bahamas when we get in.
Mr. Lincoln Bain, thank you very much, leader of the Coalition of Independents, speaking on the matter of immigration and also a matter of a Bahamian woman, again, being kicked out of her home. She gave him 2 weeks. She said, I'll continue living in this car. Well, y'all, in 2 weeks, y'all please come out so I can take a shower. Has she taken a shower recently, she said?
Family took her in.
So finally she showered. Okay, that's that. There's that. But I thank you very much for stopping by this evening. Thank you so much. So Beyond the Headlines is backward after this.
Comfort Suites Paradise Island is the best kept secret in the Bahamas. Located directly next door to the Atlantis Resort, you'll receive all the privileges of an Atlantis guest with all the benefits of a Comfort Suite stay. Enjoy everything Atlantis has to offer, including Aquaventure Water Park, plus all the amenities of Comfort Suites. Free Wi-Fi, free breakfast daily, and kids stay, play, and eat free. Visit ComfortSuitesPI.com.
At the Water and Sewage Corporation, safety and convenience are our top priorities. However, our meter readers face challenges that can make their job difficult. Locked gates to guard dogs sometimes leads to missed readings and estimated bills, which can be frustrating for you and us. That's why we're upgrading to digital meters. They bring safety, accuracy, and convenience to homes across the Bahamas. We can streamline data collection, reduce on-site visits, and provide more accurate bills with no more estimates. Digital meters also help detect leaks early, saving you from costly bills and reducing water waste. Soon, a user-friendly app will let you track your water usage, manage bills, and stay informed, all at your fingertips. Over the next year, we're rolling out digital meters nationwide, transforming how we serve you with a safer and cost-efficient water supply. To learn about our digital meters, visit our website or call us today. And don't forget to update your information at any of our locations.
You work hard to provide for and protect the ones you love. However, life can present unexpected challenges. Who you call in times of need matters. Insurance Management is a Bahamian-owned company that has been serving our community for over 40 years, offering a wide range of coverage for all of your personal, professional, and commercial needs. When life happens, rest easy knowing that our skilled and experienced agents are there for you in your time of need, so that you can get back to what matters most. Insurance Management. Nobody does it better.
7.5 years, but I walk in here all of a sudden, total stranger. I'm calling you Rick and Sheila. Like,
At Island Lock, we take sports seriously. Get ready to experience the thrill of winning anytime and any place. Bet in real time and live the thrill of every play while watching your winnings stack up. It's your chance to score big with fast payouts and a world-class experience. Get in the game and bet the Bahamian way with Island Lock Sportsbook.
Edenwell has expanded their testing menu. We now offer blood work, drug screening, and so much more. Our hours of operation are Monday to Friday, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m., and Saturday, 8 a.m. to 1 p.m., located on 11 Madera Street. We are here for all of your laboratory needs, with fast and reliable lab work done by our friendly and knowledgeable staff. Let us help you take the needed steps to stay in the know about your health. Let's keep working towards a healthier you. Stay eating well.
If you enjoy watching Beyond the Headlines, take advantage of our exclusive offers with 4 15-minute interview segments at $1,200 and 20 30-second TV ads at $2,000. Contact 557-0258 or 557-0259 for more information. Go beyond with Beyond the Headlines.
This segment of Beyond the Headlines is brought to you by EV Motors. Drive the future with brand new 2024 electric vehicles. EV Motors, powering your journey.
Welcome back to Beyond the Headlines. It's good to have you tuned in this evening. We're going to jump right into some hot topics, and the panel is here. Thank you very much for being here. Contributors Ali McIntosh and Ellington Ferguson. Good evening to both of you.
Good evening. It's good to be here.
Good evening, Shanique. Good evening, Bahamas. Certainly, it's a pleasure to be here once again.
Absolutely. Listen, I know you both saw, and like Ellington, you really brought it to my attention last evening. I saw it and I watched it. You saw in the first segment, you heard COI leader Lincoln Bain speak about just that lady who felt quite helpless in trying to reclaim her house, have the house taken over by illegal immigrants. And really had no recourse until he stepped in to try and assist her.
I think it's very sad, Shanique and Ferguson, in regards to that story. I did listen to a little bit of the live yesterday with Mr. Bain, and I see him going aggressively to try to assist what was happening, but it is sad to know that Bahamians are being disadvantaged in their country, and nobody is helping. I do think I saw police on the scene.
I saw some police
yeah,
officers,
I see that. But in terms of how it ended up, I'm not sure. I didn't listen to the entire live, but I do know that that is a sad situation. And I'm told that that is happening in some other places, and even in that area. And we really need to work for Bahamians. Bahamians should not be unhappy in their country like it's happening. We have to get back to the values of Bahamian first. And I agree with Mr. Bain in his interview that when we get a government that is governing with the view and the objective of making Bahamians first, it is going to be a better day in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
But why have Ellington? Why has successive administrations from independence, maybe before, been reluctant to really get this illegal immigration matter in hand? I mean, we know that the Haitian illegal immigration issue is very burdensome, but the Chinese is just equally so. They just perhaps aren't as big a burden, but it's also that segment of the population that exists as well.
Shanique,
and others.
When you look at this whole situation, you have to go all the way back to where we were first beginning to get warning about it. And that is from the Honorable A. Loftus Roker. And you know that he was very hard on it, and to the point where the whole Haitian community, even people in Haiti who didn't reach the Bahamas yet, knew about him and hated him. And so I've watched down through the years that successive government administration have really failed on immigration. We've been continuing to fail with dealing with this immigration issue to the point I am ready to say that there is an immigration crisis in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. The things that, as I watched that live, I mean, my emotions were all over the place. My heart was broken. And the thing that is something, because we saw he did a live like that, I think it was a year or two ago, with another lady who went through similar situation. That can be repeated over and over. I remember when the government first started to demolish the shanty towns, one of the shanty towns in the east, the owner of the property was like thankful to the government because he couldn't get them off for a certain period of time. You hear about these things and you wonder, how far is it going to go? What is it going to take for us to get a grasp on this? Obviously, our government is blind. They're numb to it. They don't have a clue what to do about immigration. We're compounding our problem. Haiti has a problem. People are trying to get out. We call it a profitable route. People will pay anything, and if they don't have to risk their lives on a rickety boat, they will find the money to come on planes like they're now doing. And so while Auckland's and Crooked Island them could barely get flights, all flights always full, people can't get on. Businesses telling the business people up there, we can't come because there's not sufficient flights. We got regular flights going to Haiti, bringing them in droves, going back to Haiti almost empty, and bringing in another paying load. What are we doing? How are we building this nation? Who are we building the Commonwealth of the Bahamas for? Why these people could do these things and get away with it?
Well, it's been this. I'll tell you this. This sort of approach to immigration has really been the approach of nations around the world for the longest while, right? Now we are seeing a shift, though. Even Canada, who had open borders, but in a controlled way, open borders for the longest while because they needed to populate with the right people, they say, their nation, also says, listen, we are overwhelmed. We can no longer accept any. Donald Trump, who was recently elected, said, listen, no, this illegal immigration stuff to the point of Americans being disadvantaged, homeless, can't find living accommodations and jobs and all the rest of it. That now is strongly being reversed.
But we're not saying this shift in the Bahamas, Shanique.
What I'm getting to that, we see also in the United Kingdom this approach. People are now telling their elected officials they've had enough. When are Bahamians and Bahamian elected officials going to adopt said position?
Because we've been telling them we've had enough.
But we've been saying that. But for some reason, the world still wants to say, oh, but you can't really send them back. Or you can't do this because it's inhumane. It goes against this convention and that convention, this amnesty and the rest of it. How do we maneuver through that?
The matter of sovereignty is an important matter, Shanique, and the Bahamian people or people around the world is gaining awareness regarding sovereignty. The Bahamian people has to be there too. The sovereignty of the Bahamas is at stake when we allow foreigners to take control, not just only in the governance, because we're thinking even if they're not in politics, well, they're not, but they are able and they are given the latitude by those persons in politics to take whatever they want, whether it's economics. They have to be brought in. We can see most clearly that the rule of law is being abandoned by this government, by successive governments, regarding how we deal with the sovereignty of the nation. The people are tired, but what will they do? And that is the problem. They have to consider when they come to the time of voting, will we elect a government or people who are prepared to protect the sovereignty of the nation? Otherwise, if they're just going along with their parties, we will be back to the status quo of what we were and what we've been seeing for successive governments.
See, Shanique, Mr. Bain touched a very, very sore point. We here in the Bahamas as Bahamians, we've got to come to our senses, you know. And see, this is bigger than just political parties, because we, the Bahamian people, are involved in this human. And when we hear the U.S., when we see the U.S. put these things out on us, oh, we get all up in arms. We're heavily involved in human trafficking. That's what it is. And we're right next to the U.S. And so when they put pressure on us, because we're being right next to them, a lot of these people just want to transition. And when you got people that have been breaking out of prison, you know, the prison break the other day, and you know, where they had caught all of them and put them back, because there's decay, is no law and order in Haiti. So they're coming here, and then they're trying to go to the U.S.
Yeah, and I think, Shanique, we're going to always have problems with, in terms of policy and public policy out of the U.S. when the Bahamas law is slack regarding immigration. Because as Ellie said, the point that people are trying to transition from Haiti and other countries to the U.S., and because we are so close, the U.S. is going to be very hard to make sure that we do the thing to protect their doorstep.
We must continue to build our Bahamas for Bahamians first. People should not be able to come here, get away with doing these things, while Bahamians have to struggle. Bahamians have to go through the ropes. You talked earlier about building a bathroom onto their house. If you build a wall in front of your house, and the thing is, the authorities will come and find you as soon as you put the first block down. It takes, and I got to say this, thank God for an activist such as Mr. Lincoln Bain, that highlight these things, that deals with these things, or else these poor people would have been trampled upon.
But I think
the lady would not have a place to live because ain't nobody who she knows in politics, no higher ups who know her and who she knows was obviously they weren't prepared to help her. She sleep down at the prime minister's front door for 3 nights. The officers tell them that she crazy. Nobody would take time to say, Miss, what's your problem? Just like the disciple of Jesus try to run the woman and the woman trying to reach Jesus.
But I think
we've got to take better care of our people. We've got to take better care of Bahamians. The Bahamas is for Bahamian first.
And the bigger picture is whether they care about the people. I saw a video yesterday of a woman in Grand Bahama crying out for a house, can't get justice. Apparently her husband died 14 years ago. They have paid, by the insurance company, have paid the bank, yet the bank is pursuing. The bank has now given her a writ of possession to throw her out of a house in Grand Bahama. I am told that is not the only person who is going through that. Do they really care about Bahamians? Why are we living in a country where people don't care about Bahamians? And so there has to be a change of how we do business, how we govern. Persons has to come to power who is able to take a stand, standing for Bahamians, standing with Bahamians, making sure that banks do not take advantage of Bahamians, and making sure that the law, the government, the immigration, the police force, everyone, the Justice Department, the courts are operating on behalf of Bahamians. We have to get there. Otherwise, what it is that Bahamians are supposed to do in this country of ours.
Well, tonight, I'll tell you this. I know we could talk about immigration all night,
Absolutely.
a whole series, in fact. But I want to move.
We got to fix it.
I want to move this along. We have a follow-up this evening on the matter in Andros. Of course, you know there were allegations that a physical education teacher threatened to return to campus after an argument with the principal and the janitress. Return to campus and shoot said janitress and principal. Earlier today, I spoke with the physical education teacher who says that it was wrongly reported and that he made no such threats. He was not permitted to speak with me. He wanted to, but his union advised him not to. However, though, Linton Ritchie did follow up, and he has this report now from both unions, the one in Andros and the BUT. Here's that story.
Investigation is now underway on the island of Andros into serious allegations levied against a physical education teacher at the Clara E. Evans Primary School, with parents saying their concerns have hit a boiling point. Ministry of Education officials say they're actively looking into the matter, while the president of the Bahamas Union of Teachers, Belinda Wilson, confirmed to Eyewitness News that her, along with the teacher, who is a member of the union, is aware of the claims and that once investigations are complete, the next steps will be taken.
Whatever the concerns are or the allegations are, that due process is done.
In an Eyewitness News exclusive, parents accused the teacher of making threats during a heated argument with staff, including allegations that a firearm may have been mentioned. They also point to what they call a pattern of unprofessional conduct on campus. Executive of the Bahamas Educators, Counselors, and Allied Workers Union, Keisha LaRoda, who represents some of the school's staff, says the complaints date back to April and believe action should have already been taken.
We informed the Ministry of Education officials on the island, realizing that this is his first year and he's a young teacher. We expected the officials on the island of Andros to treat this matter seriously and to provide the employee with proper guidance, counsel, or reprimand where appropriate.
Wilson, however, is urging the public to reserve judgment until investigations are complete.
Story sometimes is exaggerated, or there are comments that are made that are untrue or not completely true. So that's why an investigation is very important.
Some parents have shown Eyewitness News copies of letters and petitions they have submitted to the ministry documenting their concerns. And LaRoda say those concerns must not be ignored.
We expect that you would treat it with the urgency required. We no longer live in a world where threats of violence, particularly firearms, can be taken lightly.
Parents are expected to meet with Ministry of Education officials Wednesday evening to voice their frustrations and demand action. Linton Ritchie Jr., Eyewitness News.
Beyond the Headlines is back right after this. Stay close.
The internet isn't just for surfing. There's a sea of shoppers buying online, and you can connect with them on Tingsy. Tingsy is the SBDC's online storefront built for Bahamians. Take your business to the next level by selling to customers online, both at home and around the world. People want Bahamian things, and if you got things to sell, sell on Tingsy. Find out how you can connect with a sea of buyers by visiting tingsybahamas.com.
I am a master plumber by profession. I've been doing plumbing for over 40 odd years. When I was 9 months old, I was diagnosed with polio. To me, living with polio, I took it the way it is. I never allowed my polio to get in my way of anything. In fact, I love when people doubt me, and I just prove them wrong. And let me tell you, in the world, you could only find a plumber as good as me, but you ain't gonna find no plumber better than me. People with disability, they just need a chance. In this program, I feel so encouraged. Most of the mentors have different kind of disability, but disabilities like me. Sharing and caring and showing so much support with people with disability. They would encourage you to go beyond. I wish this was around a long time ago. Right now, I would have been a millionaire. You out there who have a disability, don't be afraid. Take the step. If you believe it, you could achieve it. And remember one thing, ain't no one better than me, and ain't no one better than y'all. God made all us equal.
For more information about how the SBDC can help your small business to make a big impact, give us a call at 461-7232 or visit sbdcbahamas.com.
Need a new car for your business? Well, EV Motors and the Bahamas Development Bank have some news for you.
At the Bahamas Development Bank, we are committed to promoting Bahamian businesses and entrepreneurs. With our green lending program, businesses are able to access up to 100% financing to purchase electric vehicles for commercial and fleet use. We are so excited to partner with EV Motors for this initiative to encourage and empower business owners to drive green.
If you haven't visited our dealership on Tonic Williams Starling Highway as yet, we have a wide variety of brand new EVs from some of your favorite brands like Toyota, BYD, and Mercedes-Benz. As the official distributor of Kerry commercial vehicles, we offer a selection of high-performance commercial EVs. Currently, you can purchase the Kerry Cargo Van and the Kerry Elephant Truck, and soon flatbeds and box trucks for all your business needs.
To access up to 100% financing to purchase an EV for your business, you will need to provide us with a few documents: the business plan or executive summary, business license, historical financials, relevant KYC documents, and the vehicle and insurance quote.
With an interest rate of 6.75% and a repayment period of up to 8 years, you don't want to miss this fantastic opportunity.
To apply, visit our website today at bahamasdevelopmentbank.com or give us a call at 702-5700.
So you want a space, but not just any space. You need something with a little more potential. So how about 1,000 square feet of room to play with? Superb audio and video production capability, digital LED wall, full lighting grid, and about 124 seats to accommodate a full studio audience with so many other features. Make us your home for your next concert, conference, and so much more. Honestly, the possibilities are endless. Here at ILTV Studios, we'd love to bring your next event to life. So what do you say? Do you want our space?
If you enjoy watching Beyond the Headlines, take advantage of our exclusive offers with 4 15-minute interview segments at $1,200 and 20 30-second TV ads at $2,000. Contact 557-0258 or 557-0259 for more information. Go beyond with Beyond the Headlines.
Welcome back to Beyond the Headlines. I just want, there's not much to say. We'll see how this all pans out. But of course, we heard in the story just before the break, we talked about it last night. Then we got an update again this evening through that story with Linton. Ellington, you certainly were on this show last evening, and you are aware of what the initial allegations were. And so, of course, you hear a different story that, no, it did not quite happen that way. But certainly, I'll tell you, we certainly don't want to see anything like that begin to be a trend or even a one-time occurrence in the Bahamas, anywhere in the Bahamas.
Absolutely, and for goodness sake, I hope that he is correct and that he did not say those things, because a lot of people are copycats right next to a neighbor. They see it happening and they will try to do it. So I hope that he is correct that he did not say it. However, I'm sure we're going to get down to this matter, and we're going to hear from the principal and the janitors at some point, and this will be properly investigated by the Ministry of Education, and the public will be informed.
Well, what I think, although I did not hear the story specifically, but I do believe that as a nation, those who govern us should push people to the core values of how we should govern, which primary self-discipline. It is very necessary. Not only the government must exercise self-discipline, but people must exercise self-discipline. Leaders within the nation, and when we say leaders, we don't just mean politicians. We're talking about teachers, we're talking about unions, we're talking about persons who are involved in leading, whether it's a small classroom or it's an entire school. So it's important for us to go towards self-discipline when we push that core value as one of the primary ways in which we live in the nation. I could see situations like that not happening because we don't want to go there as a people.
Absolutely. And so, listen, in the final moments of the show, we know that the 2026 budget communication is next Wednesday. I think it's next Wednesday.
Yes,
if not next Monday, but
it's
next
going to
Wednesday.
be tabled Wednesday.
Yes, absolutely. What are some of the highlights that we want to see, need to see? Maybe certain ministries really giving more prominence in the communication, and obviously the subsequent debates and various allocations?
For me, I think housing is important, and why when we talk about housing, building houses, making space available for people to live, there is a major crisis of housing in the nation. If anyone was looking for an apartment over the last 6 months, over the last year, will find out that we have gone from one-bedroom apartment around $500, $600 to now $1,100,
that's been a couple of years. Ali, that's
I
been a few
said
years
last.
now.
Well, I have not looked for an apartment for 20 years. For the last
That
6
is
months,
20
I
years
was.
ago, $500.
Yes.
That's what that
So in the last 6 months, I was, and I'm realizing we are talking anywhere from $1,500 to $1,800, which means not only we need to be building more low-cost housing, there has to be a lot of regulation when it comes to houses, even the consumer protection. That needs to be in place. We have to be cautious with banks displacing people, taking them out of their homes. Any issues that can be renegotiated in a bank to allow people to stay in their homes should be things that should be concentrated. They may not be in the budget, but those are things that should go before the parliament to bring legislation so that those things can be eased on. Because we have 2 Canadian banks. Well, they probably may not belong to Canadian banks, but however, people are seeing themselves disadvantaged by those banks, and that needs to come in order from legislation in the parliament.
Shanique, yes, let me start right where Ali ended off. I think housing is a critical issue for us. It is here in the country. The cost of housing, the inventory of housing for Bahamians, both residential and commercial dwelling, apartments and the likes, began to get through the roof for Bahamians. It's become very scarce for Bahamians because a lot of the rental units have been taken out of the pool and is now in short-term rental Airbnbs and the likes of that stuff. And so the cost is astronomical. With the limited inventory now, the cost has gone up astronomically. So the government must look at providing housing. Education is one of the things we need to look at. I think we really need to revamp our educational system. And we need to look at learning from some different point of view, from different perspective in our schools. Too many of our children are coming out not prepared for life. not prepared, doesn't have the tools. I'm talking of even those that go straight through 12th grade, don't have the tools. We need to look at taking different tracks in education, where from primary school, 6th grade, we begin to watch the track of a student, the trend, study students and see where they're going to be more suited. Everybody is not going to be a scientist, or they're not going to need algebra, they're not going to need all these other stuff, and put them on their track that they will have the survival skills to go into life. Healthcare is yet still critical. I know that we're talking about building a new hospital somewhere here off in the western area. We talk about rebuilding the hospital in Grand Bahama. The government has reopened several clinics. They're building a new clinic on Blue Hill Road, but healthcare has a long way to go here in the Bahamas. We must get Princess Margaret Hospital more efficient. We must deal with our doctors and nurses as it relates to their payment. Those issues that they're having with their union is having with the government. And so there's a number of things that the government has got to deal with. We've got to look at our family islands and see how we can better assist these family islands in their own development. A lot of them are thriving. They have great opportunities coming their way. I don't think they're giving the tools and the necessary infrastructure, airlift and all that type of stuff, communication and stuff for them to thrive. So these are some of the areas that I'd love to hear coming out in the budget.
Well, you all know this show is always a headline ahead, because I think it was last week, if not the week before, I did have Housing Minister Keith Bell on, and he talked about just that, and that there were some good news for him in terms of his ministry in this upcoming budget, because housing is a focus. And they're continuing to build new housing. So I'm happy that you all both mentioned that, because I interviewed him and asked him about those very things. If not last week, it was the week before, about a week and a half ago perhaps, and housing is a focus.
Could I add just one thing to the matter of how we govern a nation, is that a lot of Bahamians are not happy. We know of a lot of Bahamians who have left the country because they're not happy. I think, and we've talked a lot about our natural resources and how do we bring more money into the economy in order to help Bahamians so they can be happier. Like daycare, free health care. Of course, some of those things we say, but now you go to the hospital and sometimes you can't get service without putting certain monies down. Clinics, it's the same thing. So we don't have free health care. We don't have free daycare unless it's a daycare school. But in order to cause Bahamians to be happier, we have to provide some more services that allow them to feel comfortable in their nation and they want to stay home. And if they're out of the country, to come back home. So I think that's important.
How do you propose paying for that, Ali? Because every nation that has this free health care in particular, the taxes are reflective of that.
The money have to
they have a sovereign wealth fund.
And so when, no, I know about that. I'm talking about the taxes the people are paying out in their salaries that I know of. People live elsewhere,
Canada,
Europe, all of that stuff. Or well, we know about Canada. What I'm saying is we could throw around as much as we want to, but when you really have to now pay for this stuff, and I'm not opposing it, healthcare is one of those areas that certainly it should be certainly more benefits that the average person, if only, has access to, but again.
But we feel a lot of oppression. We feel a lot of oppression. That's what I'm saying. When you feel oppression, when you feel you're unemployed, and there's a lot of people who are unemployed, despite the Prime Minister saying that the economy has taken a turn. And taking a turn for who? When you do not vote for certain people in this country, you don't get. If the FNM is not your party, you don't win when they're there. When the PLP wins, and if that's not your party, you don't get.
But that's the
any
political.
advantage.
That's the political perks of it. You know what?
But we're talking about being in a nation. We're Bahamians.
No, but Ali, you a leader.
Okay.
Matter of fact, I forgot to ask your opinion about what the Prime Minister said about Michael Pintar, but we don't time for that.
I do have a minute on that.
No, you don't.
Because I'm a creative mind.
You don't.
And I feel an insult.
Why are you insulted? But you don't have time for that. Because here's where I want to go, Ali. When you were talking about, and you caused me to lose my train of thought just now, but when you were talking about, remind me again what this was you were saying, because I have a good point about that.
Trying to take the oppression off people and make them feel just a little happier in their country.
When we talk about political perks, we're moving away from that. Okay. That's something separate. And yes, I know that. The nation knows that. But the average person will tell you, that the average employer will tell you, it is extremely difficult to find Bahamian workers, Bahamian, authentic. We talk about the others who are all around us and they're coming in and they're illegal. Well, you know why? Most times it's working, and it's this that Lincoln talked about this whole industry built around it, Bahamians don't want to work. And Bahamians don't want to work and put in a full day's work. I don't know, how do you talking about structuring a nation and building a nation? How do you get us to want to be upstanding, honest, hardworking, productive people all over again and have dreams and ambitions? How do you do that?
Because we have to go back. Anytime you've lost your way, you go back to the beginning and start again. The preamble of the Constitution sets out core values in which we should govern and which we should live. The founders intended that if we as a people, both the government and the people, commit to the values of self-discipline, industry, loyalty, unity, and abiding respect for Christian values and the rule of law, we would create a society that's more engaging for all of us. The fact that we've abandoned that, we've abandoned the core values. You cannot have character, you cannot have standards without core values. We don't want core values, we just want political expediency. And once you do that,
it's a different nation, different people, different expectations, and they can tell you straight in your face, they want what they want to work for. It is the nation needs revision, and the nation's people. Then we as a nation, we make up the nation. The people, the Bahamian workforce, largely. This is just a blanket statement. Please put that book down, because you will pay for that ad. I try to give you that ad free on the statement. How the dickens you just pull that out?
I travel with it all the time. How to reconstruct a nation.
And national security also.
Yes.
National security also needs a lion's share, you're saying.
I expect to hear a lot from the minister, what's happening in that ministry, about the revamping of the police force, revamping of immigration, the prison system.
What is it in the police force that's lacking in 2025?
The new commissioner came in and she promised to do some things. I still see too many shortcomings in the police force. We just had here another police with some voice notes again, some things, reference to some things being hidden in the bush. That is day before the courts now on that. And so there's still too much stuff going on in the police force that is not good for this country. And so I would love to hear what's the plan
and
going
people
forward.
Feeling disenfranchised by the force in various pockets, feeling as though they are not being served
well
as they should be. By many divisions and in many divisions.
Exactly.
And so it's something that must be addressed.
Which means the country needs resetting.
So that every Bahamian, regardless of their color, their financial status, whatever, that they feel that they can have resolve and be treated respectfully by the police wherever it is that they go, whatever it is they're trying to get the attention brought to. And so you're quite right.
Absolutely.
Thank you. I want to thank you both very much. Of course, at the top of tonight's show, we had Coalition of Independence leader Lincoln Baines join us and speak on immigration largely. And of course, here in this segment, we had the Hot Topics panel, Ali McIntosh and Ellington Ferguson. Thank you both as well. I want to thank all of you for tuning in this evening. It's certainly been awesome having you join in. I look forward to seeing you right back here tomorrow evening. For the entire Beyond the Headlines team, I'm Shanique Miller. Make it a great evening, everyone.